Hi everyone, welcome back to the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm Go Local News Editor Kate Nagel. Would like to thank Ray Rickman for coming in to give his big view. I would like to thank a regular guest for coming on in, Pilar McCloud, with a sweet creation.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to have you back in because you're going to be taking part in a big panel discussion tomorrow at Brown University with their NAACP branch there. The Faces of Activism. Tell us a little bit about tomorrow's event.
So tomorrow's event is a panel discussion with some other local activists and or community leaders. Myself, I know Juan Carter is going to be there from the Institute for the Study and Practice of Nonviolence. Of course, former mayoral candidate Kobe Dennis will be there. I'm super excited, as well as myself. I'm not sure who else is on the panel. Those are the people that I know. And we're going to be talking about activism, both locally as well as nationally.
Because that pretty much encapsulates you. You're so active here in the community, but if you're not in Rhode Island, you were in a van with about 12 to 14 kids, going somewhere, bringing water to Flint. Wherever there's a need, you're out there in the community. Tell us a little bit, what's the story you're going to tell about Pilar, how you really got involved? Because I'm sure folks are going to ask the questions, really how you were called to this community service and this activism. Tell folks a little bit about the Pilar story.
Well, for me, activism or doing any form of community service work came when I moved here from New York, and 8 months into living here with no family, our house burned down. And I worked at the time Sovereign Bank, which is now Santander Bank, and people that I really didn't know came to our aid for not only me, myself, my mother, my son, my daughter, who were still in school, and it overwhelmed me. It was overwhelming, and I decided right then and there I needed to do something to give back, but I didn't know how. So I decided I was going to pay it forward or play it forward and start doing stuff in the community, and that's kind of how A Sweet Creation was birthed and born. And 12 and a half, almost 13 years later, we are still rocking and rolling on our grassroots nickel and dime operation. And then the thought became bigger. Why just do community service in Rhode Island? I live in Rhode Island, but really the community is anywhere where there is a need, at least for me. If you have the ability to lend your voice or lend your hand, then why not go and do it? And that, for me, was what made me take kids to Flint. We went to Puerto Rico. Shout out to Puerto Rico. This summer, the kids stayed for a week. We did 2 organic farms in Abenito and Ponce that were affected by Hurricane Maria. We are gearing up because we're going to go back to Flint for our 3rd time.
Wow.
And it's
do you know when that's going to
be? Probably during the spring.
Okay.
We are working with the Jam Master J Foundation. Shout out to Venus Mazel. In New York City to help give out toys to kids in the 5 boroughs and in other states for Christmas. So community services for me, wherever I can jump in, lend my hand, and let's bring those kids along and teach them that the community is a lot bigger than just where their zip code or area code is.
And that's, you're always with the youth, and as you said, here in Rhode Island or throughout the country. I mean, how eye-opening are these experiences for these kids to get outside and to see other parts of the country? Because, there's a lot of need here in Rhode Island, but as you said, the community is larger. I mean, what's it like to see their reactions when you go different places, especially if they've never been before? It's an education.
It is. It's an education that does not compare to what you can get in a book. It's easy to read about community service in a book. It's really easy to watch it in a movie. It's a lot different when you're hands-on. So those kids had amazing experiences because they had never been to Flint. So when they went to Flint, they were amazed and shocked at how the people were living, how water is so essential to our well-being. Same thing in Puerto Rico. They were amazed at how Puerto Rico, although devastated, had the resilience to rebuild themselves, and it is an amazing country, part of the U.S. territory. They were also amazed when we took them years ago down to Alabama when there was an oil spill crisis, and we helped down there with the oil spill, working in at the Back Bay Food Center for a whole week, boxing up food to families that didn't have food to eat in Bayou La Battery, Alabama. So it's amazing. The students journal. They have to write about their experiences, and it really teaches them a sense of pride. It's amazing to help somebody that you're never going to meet. At least to me, it is. And to the students, they say amazing things. They come back, so that means I must be doing something right, or they must like it. And we have an amazing time when we go out of state. We have an amazing time in state, but something about when that sign says "Welcome to Connecticut."
Kids, they're ready to be back. I mean, you must be so heartened for the future, not only of the state and the country, when you see these young folks really roll up their sleeves and say, we're not just going to sit back. We're gonna take charge. We're gonna put our destiny in our hands and try to really affect change. What do you hear from folks when they're like, "Oh, the kids today," but you see the best of the kids.
what I love the most about our young people and our millennials today is that they have resilience. So whereas us sometimes as grown-ups we're a little hesitant, we have to think about everything. I don't want to do it. I don't want to ruffle any feathers. These kids are like, I'm ruffling all the feathers, honey. I don't care who's mad, because at the end it's their future.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, their future is our future. We're older. So whatever they do to make the difference, it's the trickle down. The difference isn't just for Kate and Pilar. The difference is for everybody. And that's what I like about them. They're not thinking about themselves. It's not selfish. They're thinking about everybody, nationwide, citywide, statewide, that is going to be affected by what it is they do. And I say, if you have the opportunity to get out and help these kids, support them, whether it's financially, a pat on the back, a word of encouragement, I say do it. Because if we're not going to do the work, then don't stop somebody else from trying to be the difference that we may not want to be. But I'm all about being the difference, honey. I say go out there and ruffle the feathers and get the job done by any means necessary.
And you do. You are, again, always boots on the ground. I mean, what do you expect the conversation to be like tomorrow with the different panelists and the students and the community at large? I mean, what do you expect from this conversation? It's at 3 o'clock tomorrow at Brown, the Metcalf Auditorium. We'll be sure to put that link up. If it's something that, you're energized.
And it's free.
You can come for this panel discussion. So what do you anticipate it being like?
I anticipate, from the 2 other people I know who are boots on the ground with me, Juan Carter and Kobe Dennis, I expect it's going to be real energetic, a lot of jokes. And Juan Carter and Mr. Dennis and I, we've all protested. Juan Carter and I have marched outside of the state of Rhode Island with our young people, and that's totally different than when we march and protest in state. It's different when you're marching in DC. It's different when you're marching in New York City. It's different when you're in Richmond, Virginia. You get a different kind of energy. The people are they're really passionate about what it is we're doing as a collective to make the difference. And I think that energy is going to come in tomorrow. Because I know I'm bringing the thunder, honey. You better be prepared.
Pilar will definitely be bringing the energy. And after tomorrow, let's look ahead to the new year. There is an exhibit taking place this February that we're just going to let folks know about now, give you some heads up as to what's going to take place in February.
Well, actually, the exhibit is going on now until February 10th of 2019.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's going on now.
Well, tell us a little bit more.
So the exhibit it's a catalog piece. It's put on at the
Get a little closer over here.
Benefit House, I believe.
We'll put all the information
Carriage
up.
House over at 357 Benefit Street. It's again through Brown University, and I am in the catalog. I've completed a written piece about youth, young people, activism, social justice, civil rights, and it's a display of the voices of activism, kind of like through the ages and the modern day, how it compares. Because when you look through the ages, or if you look back from the 50s and the 60s, the same things we protested about then, some of them are the same things we're protesting about now.
And does that, as we're here in 2018, does that surprise you at all as to where we are and where the country is in this day and age?
Actually, it does, because I was born in the 70s, so by the time I was born, everybody had protested and everybody had kumbaya and kind of saying we had overcome. And then now to see the current administration, and when I mean administration, I mean presidential administration, kind of try to take back everything that has been set forth. And it all seems to affect minorities, people of black and brown persuasion, females, young kids. I'm not understanding it, because I don't understand why the premises or the perception seems to be, I got mine and I'm going to keep mine, and I don't want anybody else to get theirs. If this is the land of the free, home of the brave, we are supposed to be equal. How come we are not treated equal? And if we are not going to have a hard look again at racism and how it plays out amongst minorities, then we are not sitting at the table and having an open and honest discussion. We keep claiming that we do, because everything comes back to race. I don't care what you say. In every genre, that's where it is. Education, healthcare, housing, work, everything. So if we're not going to have the real conversation and make 45 accountable for his actions and push back as much on not only nationally but locally on our local politicians when they may do or say things that are not going to benefit the community, the city, the state at large, then we are wasting our time, ladies and gentlemen. I say we had the right to vote. People fought, bled, and died so that we can do it. Stand up and have your voice be heard. And if you're not going to stand up, move over, honey, because mother is coming.
Pilar McCloud, I appreciate you taking the time to come in, because I know you're busy leading up to tomorrow's event, and we'll provide links. If you can't make it tomorrow, you can see this Faces of Activism display that Brown, in conjunction with the NAACP and leaders in the community, has here in Providence. So Pilar McCloud,
thank you so much. One shameless plug, the Boys and Girls Club Sunday is having an indoor bazaar, Southside Boys and Girls Club. Come on through, get your little Christmas nicks and knacks, and see Mother P, because Big Mama P is definitely going to be there, honey.
We'll be sure to put a plug in for that too if you are going to be watching this after the the facts. So again, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
And don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back here with our next guest in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center.